Ever seen a house that seems to float on water? Or imagine living in a home perched so high on a pillar of rock? What about waking up to the sight of lava rivers? Or a temple that magically clings to a cliff's side, challenging our understanding of architecture? These are not scenes from a fantasy tale, but real places on our planet that people call home. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Forever Green. Today we'll show you houses built in unusual locations. Each one tells a story of human creativity, resilience, and the desire to live in harmony with the breathtaking landscape our Earth offers. And just when you think you've seen it all, we reveal a house that blends so well into its surroundings it's almost invisible. Ready to explore those architectural marvels? Let's dive in. 15. China's nail houses. In China, imagine a small house standing alone in the middle of a huge construction site. This is a nail house. It's called that because, like a stubborn nail that won't be hammered down, the house and its owners refuse to move, even when new roads and buildings are being built all around them. Think of a family living in a house that's been their home for years. Around them, everything starts to change. Big machines come in and buildings start to disappear, replaced by new roads and tall buildings. Everyone else agrees to leave, accepting money to move so the new construction can happen. But this one house stays right where it is. The owner says, "No, we won't go." So what happens? The construction doesn't stop. Instead, it moves around the house. Roads curve oddly to go around it, and sometimes you'll see this lone house surrounded by a new shopping mall or standing in the shadow of a giant skyscraper. 14. The Kavari Pillar House. Far away in the western part of Georgia, in a region called Amaretti, there's a place that looks like it's straight out of a fairy tale. This place is home to the Kavari Pillar, a tall and narrow rock that reaches up to the sky. On top of this rock, as if touching the clouds, sits a small church dedicated to a man named Maximus the Confessor. This isn't just any church, it's a home with a crypt, a place to make wine, and a small cottage. People say it's one of the loneliest homes in the world. For 20 years, a brave man named Father Maxime Kavari chose to live here, away from everyone else. Imagine climbing up a 130-foot tall rock, living where the wind and birds are your constant companions. Father Kavari wasn't the first to call this high place home. Long ago in the 1400s, others lived here too, but then it was empty for hundreds of years until Father Kavari decided to bring back an old tradition. Their tradition is called a stylite. A stylite is someone who lives far up on a pillar, making a closer connection to God away from the rest of the world. 13. High Desert House. If this isn't an unusual location for a house, we don't know what is. Deep in the heart of California's Joshua Tree National Park, there's a house known as High Desert House. A residence so perfectly tucked into its rocky surroundings that you might walk right past it without even knowing it's there. Built from a series of concrete slabs, the house mimics nature itself. Just like the leaves of a tree offer shade and shelter, these slabs curve and fold over the house, shielding it from the sun and blending it into the landscape. Constructing this house was no small feat. It took more than 10 years to complete. Every piece of the house was chosen with care, from a spiky iron fence that encircles it, looking like the bones of a fish, to the walls and ceiling inside, which flow and ripple like waves in the ocean. Moreover, a parasol crafted from 800 pieces of sandblasted glass stands at the heart of the dining room, surrounded by an array of eclectic furnishings that contribute to the home's distinctive aesthetic. If you're amazed by this odd-looking house, you must watch our video on the 20 most unusual houses in the world. 12. Drina River House. Once upon a time, near the town of Bahina Basta in Serbia, a group of young swimmers found a large rock in the middle of River Drina. This wasn't just any rock. It was about to become the foundation for one of the most curious houses you could imagine. The house on the Drina River is no ordinary home. It's a place that seems to float on water, a solitary haven that captures the imagination of anyone who sees it. The story of this house begins in the 1960s with a group of adventurous teenagers led by a Yugoslav boy named Alija Mandic. They loved to swim in the river, but they needed a place to rest and shelter from the sun. So they had a bold idea. Why not build a resting spot on the rock in the middle of the river? With determination and a bit of youthful optimism, they started bringing wooden planks to the rock. Piece by piece, their dream took shape. By 1969, they had managed to construct a small shelter, but they didn't stop there. Over the years, they continued to row out materials, gradually expanding their creation. 11. Medoras monasteries. High above in the clouds of Greece, the Medoras monasteries defy gravity. Built atop towering rock formations, these sanctuaries are like castles floating in the air, places of quiet and prayer that have been there for centuries. Medora means suspended in the air, and that's exactly how these monasteries appear. Imagine living in a house that's hanging on a pillar of rock so tall you feel like you're living among the stars. That's what life is like in the Medora monasteries. They were built by monks, religious men seeking peace and closer connection to God, away from all the noise and trouble of the world below. To reach these heavenly homes, monks had to climb steep rock faces or be pulled up in baskets, which shows just how dedicated they were to finding solitude and silence. These days, there are stairs carved into the rock, but think about how much faith and courage it took to build a home in such a place. 10. The Volcano House. This is the Volcano House, a unique home in the western Mojave Desert of California. Perched atop a 150-foot-tall cinder cone from an extinct volcano. This UFO-shaped home is a masterpiece of mid-century modern design, measuring 2,500 square feet with 2 cozy bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. But what makes it truly special is the dome shape. Around this otherworldly dome runs a moat, 5 feet wide and 2 feet deep, adding to the sense of this home being a castle in the desert. At the very top of the dome, there's an observation deck. From there, you can see everything around for miles. The Volcano House was originally the dream of an inventor named Vard Wallace, and it was brought to life in 1968 by architect Harold J. Bisner. Later, it became the home of Huell Hauser, a man who loved to share stories of California with the world. Eventually, Hauser gave this remarkable house to Chapman University. In 2015, the Volcano House was sold for $750,000, just 10 days after being put on the market. 9. Hanging Temple of Shanxi. In the ancient heart of China, there's a temple that hangs from the side of a cliff as if by magic. This is the Hanging Temple of Shanxi, a marvel that seems to defy gravity itself. Built more than 1,500 years ago, this temple clings to the rugged face of the mountains, looking over the vast expanse below. The temple was constructed with wooden beams slotted into the holes carved into the rock, creating a structure that appears to float in the air. The Hanging Temple is a maze of rooms and halls, connected by narrow walkways and precarious bridges that sway in the wind. The temple is home to statues and icons where multiple religions come together under one roof. Visitors to the temple are often struck by the sense of awe, marveling at the cleverness and courage of those who built and maintained this sacred place through the centuries. 8. Eloi Island Home. Long ago in the vast and chilly waters of the northern Atlantic, there lies a small mysterious island named Eloi. This is Eloi Island, a remote place of land that seems to float alone in the endless sea. On the almost deserted island stands a single home, a lone sentinel watching over the waves. Imagine a place so quiet that you can hear the wind talking to the sea, where the only visitors are the birds that swoop and dance in the sky. The Eloi Island home is exactly that place. Over 300 years ago, 5 families lived here, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the sea and the land. As the years passed, the families eventually left, drawn away by the call of modern life or the need for more than just an island could provide. Now this house stands alone, a symbol of the profound peace and isolation that nature can provide. 7. Hawaii's Volcano House. Far across the vast blue ocean on the islands of Hawaii, there's a house unlike any other, known as the Volcano House. Perched on the edge of a live volcano, this house offers a window into the raw beauty and might of the Earth's fiery heart. The story of the Volcano House begins with a bold dream. Imagine wanting to wake up every morning to the sight of lava flowing like rivers of fire, to live so close to creation itself. The builders of this house decided to do just that, constructing a house where most would fear to step. From its window, you can watch the earth create and destroy, all within the cycle of nature. The land around the house is constantly changing, shaped by the volcano's mood, offering an ever-evolving landscape. The people who stay here are not just residents or visitors, they become part of the grand, ongoing story of living with the land, not just on it. 6. The Perched Monastery. High up in the mountains of Bhutan, in the wonderful Paro Valley, there's a place that looks like it belongs in a story from long, long ago. This is the Perched Monastery, also known as the Tiger's Nest. It's a sacred place, clinging to a sheer cliff face, almost touching the clouds. The monastery's story starts in the 17th century, but its roots go back even further, tangled in legend and faith. It's said that Guru Rinpoche, a revered figure in Buddhism, flew to this spot on the back of a tiger to meditate, and thus the monastery was born. Getting to Perched is a journey of its own. There's a winding path that climbs through the forest up the mountains. It's a trek that asks for patience and a calm heart. But the reward is the glimpse of a place untouched by time. Monks live here in rooms carved by the rock, their lives devoted to prayer and meditation. 5. Carrot House. In Warsaw, Poland, a micro-home called the Carrot House is squeezed between two other buildings. The Carrot House claims the title of the narrowest in the world. It challenges our perception of what it means to inhabit a space, how little one truly needs to create a home. Imagine a house so narrow that when you stretch your arms out, you can touch both walls. At its widest, the house stretches only 36 inches across. That's no wider than the length of a yardstick. The Carrot House is just that, a sliver of space turned into a home. The idea might seem strange at first. Who would choose to live in such a tiny space? But the Carrot House is a marvel of design and creativity. It challenges us to think about what we really need to have a home. 4. The Mushroom House. The Mushroom House in Perrotson, New York is a fantastical emergence from the ground, its unique form inspired by the natural world. Built between 1970 and 1972, this contemporary residence stands out from the crowd with its unusual and odd appearance, resembling the cap of a mushroom. Step inside and you're greeted by the world of color and patterns. The interior is adorned with mosaic tiling, each piece carefully placed to create a kaleidoscope of beauty. These tiles tell stories, capturing the imagination of all who visit and turning the house into a living piece of art. The design of the Mushroom House, inspired by the natural form of a stem of Queen Anne's lace, reminds us that inspiration is all around us. 3. The Nine Ladies Treehouse. Nestled within the forest of northern England, there exists a treehouse called the Nine Ladies. This isn't just any treehouse, it's a secret retreat, named after 9 stone statues that stand guard nearby, shrouded in mystery and legend. The Nine Ladies treehouse is perched gently among the branches, as if it had always been a part of the forest. It's a magical spot where the only sounds are the rustling of leaves and the distant call of birds. The story goes that long ago, a group of friends dreamed of a place where they could escape the world, a place where they could be closer to nature and to each other. They found the perfect spot in the forest under the watchful eyes of the 9 stone ladies. With care not to harm the trees, they built their treehouse, a cozy nook made of wood and love. For more than 4 years, locals fought to save the historic site of 9 Ladies and Stanton Lee's from being quarried for grillstone. 2. The 222 House. Nestled on the rugged coastline of Pembrokeshire, Wales, there's a house that doesn't just stand by the sea, it becomes part of it. This is the 222 House, a home that has found its place between the rocks and waves, blending seamlessly into the landscape around it. The 222 House is a marvel, designed to be one with its surroundings. Its walls and roofs mimic the colors and textures of the cliffs on which it perches, making it almost invisible to the casual observer. From a distance, you might not even know it's there. So well does it hide in plain sight. Inside, the house is a sanctuary, a quiet retreat from the world. The rooms are filled with light and air, with windows that frame the sea like living paintings. Number 1. Just Room Enough's Island House. And lastly, Just Room Enough Island's House in New York. On a tiny speck of land in the vast waters of the St. Lawrence River, there's a place called Just Room Enough Island. True to its name, the island has just room enough for a single house and a couple of trees, making it the smallest inhabited island in the world. This house fills nearly all of the land, with just a bit of space for a tiny yard where a few trees manage to grow. This is a place where the concept of a backyard doesn't exist because the river flows all around. The story of Just Room Enough Island starts with a family who wanted a unique getaway, a retreat from the bustling world. They chose this tiny piece of land to build their home, seeking solitude and the simple joy of living surrounded by water. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating adventures from Forever Green.